Welcome to Child Development 155. This is an 8-week late start course. The Child Development 150 just got finished last week. They are often linked together, are offered in different configurants together because they fulfill some of the requirements for different types of permits that you might want to get at the state level, and also community care licensing requirements as well. This class is all about administration and management strategies, which we will be diving into for the next 8 weeks. What I'm going to do in this video is try to keep it as short as possible and just give you the most important kind of policies from the class, take you through the Canvas structure, and let you know about any larger assignments that you might need to keep an eye on as well. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see what the uh, what it looks like, what this class looks like on Canvas. Sorry. Okay, so here's our 155 class. It'll always look somewhat similar to this. So the very first module is just a welcome module. If you took 150 with me, you are familiar with it. In this welcome very first page is this video, the syllabus, and some other pertinent information that I'm going to go ahead and click on now. Just welcoming you to the class. This video that you're going to be watching here is the syllabus. I'm not going to go through the syllabus. You're going to need to download and read it on your own. I'm pulling out the biggest policies that you need to know. But for things like how to access services, what's my grading policy, how much are the points worth, that's all available on Canvas for points. But it's also on the syllabus ready for you to read. In the case of like brevity and keeping this video like not an hour and a half long, I am not going to read word for word the syllabus and just draw out the more important things, which means that you will have to download and read through it. Have any questions on some of the smaller policies, go ahead and call me, or don't call me. I mean, you can call me, but it'll just come to my email. Just go ahead and email me or message me. If you want to contact me, here is all of the information. My name is Jolie. Please call me by my first name. This is my email address. For whatever reason, Palomar has to go by my birth certificate last name, which is Crossway Van Schoik. I've always my entire life been Jolie Van Schoik. Please feel free to just call me Jolie. And I've also given you a little hint on how to pronounce it as well, because I know it's French, it's a little different. You can also message me if you look to the left-hand kind of vertical toolbar. My mouse is circling the inbox, and you can just shoot me a message there. It goes straight to my email. I check my email in the morning about midday, and then about 4 o'clock, I'm kind of wrapping up my day. I do not check emails on the weekends, and I do not check them like outside of those business hours. So you can email me whenever you want, midnight, 6 a.m. on a Sunday. It's totally up to you when you want to email me. I only check them about 3 times a day, and just during normal traditional business hours. If I see your email, I will respond right away. And like I said, I check them 3 times a day. So I see quite a bit of emails, and I try to be as responsive as possible. You can expect a response within 24 business hours. So if you email me on Friday after Friday at 6:30 p.m., I'm not going to see that until Monday around 8 a.m. So just know that you will get a response, but it will be within like kind of traditional business hours, bank hours, let's say, Monday through Friday, within like kind of more traditional hours. A best practice is to check early and often the assignments. So I totally know that most of you are busy professionals, and this might not be your only class as well, and you have families and lives and things that you want to do and friends and hobbies and a whole life beyond this class. But a best practice in an online class is always to look earlier in the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So then if you have questions about the assignment, you can ask me, and you're not like looking for the first time at Sunday afternoon, and then you're not going to get a response till Monday when the assignment is due. My biggest thing that I've been noticing recently, I put feedback in everybody's assignment. Not every single one, but most of them. Sometimes, like a lot of you are so good in this class, like it's me just being like, great job, or like a gentle suggestion, something I might do or I've seen. If you got something wrong, I'll like tell you what you should have done. So like I try to provide fairly targeted feedback. If you have questions about your grade, Um, or questions about that feedback, don't leave a comment in the assignment. So on each assignment that you submit that I then grade, I'm going to leave like a little comment, and that's my feedback there. Don't leave another comment underneath that. It doesn't come to my email. I don't get a notification. I don't know that you have left me feedback at all. So I'm not going to see it. It's not that I don't want to respond. It's like I don't see it. So email me or message me directly. So let's say you did a 10-point assignment, you got an 8 out of 10. It overall was great. It was B work, but there was like one little thing that, I didn't feel that you missed, like you kind of missed the third part of the instructions or something like that. Let's say you disagree or you want to resubmit it or you just have a general question, email or message me. Don't say, "Hey, can I resubmit?" or something like that. In the feedback, once again, I just don't see it. And so you have to email or just like I said, message me here on Canvas, and then I will respond as soon as I see it. I also put some little easy links about course navigation for you if you are kind of new to Canvas. My biggest policy, though, is my late policy. And my late policy is there's no late work accepted unless you kind of have prior approval. So if you generally let me know, hey, I just picked up two double shifts and I'm gonna be late and I'm gonna submit it by Tuesday afternoon. I'll typically be like, absolutely awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I will look for it on Tuesday. Or I got really sick. My kid got COVID. My kid, one of my kids last class rolled her ankle really bad and like sprained it, and there was X-rays and crutches and those knee rolly things, all that type of stuff. And so I'm very like understanding and cognizant of the fact that things go on beyond this class. And so occasionally being late on something is more than okay. As long as I have like prior approval, you've just messaged me or sent me an email and you're like, hey, this is generally what's going on. If this continues to happen, I might not accept your late work. I might have bigger conversations with you about student support services and how we can help you be successful. Because the biggest thing that I won't accept is you got into this class, you did a week's work, you did the first week's work, and then you haven't done anything till the eighth week, and you're going to try to get all the class content, all the assignments, the observation and the interview, the handbook, all of these larger assignments crammed into 1 week. That's not how this class works. That's not how a lot of college classes work, but it's pretty much not how child development works. It's cumulative. We're building upon 1 week from the other. And so you need to be on Canvas every week. It's up to you because it's asynchronous the time, but at least every week because every Monday something is due. And then there are larger assignments as well. So it's not something where you can just piece out for a week or two. If that's kind of happening, I will most likely not accept your late work, or I won't accept all of it. And just as a heads up, I don't typically accept any late work during finals week. We have a lot going on, especially at the end of an entire semester. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that we kind of have to deal with. So I don't accept late work the last week of the semester as well. Um, we just to get back to some other kind of course policies, I do have office hours. The campus has generally compensated us for 3 hours a week, which is a big jump than adjunct faculty used to have. So now I have three. They're on Wednesdays and Thursdays. The office hour schedule and the link is right here, but they're always on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Occasionally I have something come up, like a couple weeks ago I had a site visit and I had to just be out of my office all day, and so I had to cancel it on that day and I put it on another day. I will let you know. It'll be in an announcement. It will also be on the office hour schedule. Please come talk to me. I know a bit about permits. I know quite a bit about the new credential that's kind of happening, because I do admin work for Cal State around that and early childhood education. I know a bit about jobs, so you can just come and chat and talk with me. Or you can ask me about specific questions related to the class. Here are all of your student support services. You paid a student fee, so these are your student support services. We have health, we have mental health, we have a pantry. Keep your eyes out. Like in past years, they gave away turkey dinners for Thanksgiving. So look at your email and like on Palomar, social media, like they gave away Galaxy, like soccer tickets. So there's some cool stuff that's out there, and just normal stuff that all colleges provide as well. All right. So each week generally looks like this. If you took 150 with me, it's basically the exact same format. It's just new content. So week one is a little bit different. There's just an introduce yourself discussion board just because I like to get to know you. If you already did it for 150, please do it again just so that you remind me who you are. And I can continue to put that name with a face, which can be challenging in online space for me. I have a little bit of background on like what we're going to be learning this semester, and then I have two different assignments. This one is a little bit weird. So by Thursday, that's the only thing that I'll ever be doing on a Thursday. I need to get a roster by like Friday or Saturday to the college. So I need to know who's actually in this class, and the only way to kind of really do that is to have an assignment early on. So by Thursday of the first week of class, please do this communication skills for supervisors so I know and can grade and can see exactly who has logged on to the class, who has submitted this assignment, and then that becomes my roster that I give to the college because it's a fast-paced class. I have to get my roster in fairly early. And then on Monday is our personal leadership mission statement. And each week will be generally the same. You'll have some kind of information, like next week will be reflective supervision, leadership, and then you'll have 1 to 2 assignments every week, and they'll always be due on a Monday. I have to change the due dates on that. But you can see that each week you're going to have an assignment, a quiz, something that is going to be due, and maybe sometimes it'll be 2 assignments, smaller assignments. But each week you're going to have something due on a Monday. So that's why you need to be on every single week. You need to be submitting your assignments every single week. That is just part of kind of how this course works. And then you can see we'll go all the way through the 6th week. We'll have a little bit of work even on the 7th week, learning about kind of mental health overall. And then we'll have a final the very last week of class. Week 7, you'll have a very comprehensive review. If you took 150 with me, it'll be the same format. It'll be kind of short answers. I'll give you a few of them, and then I choose 5 of them to be your final exam. Your final exam is due at the very last week of class. And on a Wednesday instead of a Monday. So I guess I misspoke. The first week you have something due on a Thursday and a Monday, and then on the final, because I need to be able to grade all of these kind of like essay short answer questions by the end of the semester, I need it due by Wednesday night so that I actually have the time to kind of sit down and grade all of them. My grading policy is pretty simple. I start grading after the assignment is done, so like you can turn it in 5, 6 days ahead of time. I don't sit down until all of them are due, and then I kind of click through them and start to grade them. You can expect on the smaller weekly assignments that it takes me about 5 business days after it's due to get it done. So I'm usually done by Friday afternoon. Sometimes it's Monday, but for the most part, I'm usually getting stuff done like Thursday or Friday. I'm kind of done with grading. For the larger assignments, right here, the observation and interview, and then this personnel handbook, I might need up to 2 weeks. So like 10 business days in order to sit down, to read through them, to get some feedback going and put it in. I do take grading very seriously, so that's why I'm letting you know. It takes me five to six, more usually 5 business days to get your weekly kind of assignments graded. And then for these 2 larger assignments, well, especially the observation interview, it will probably take me about 2 weeks because I think there's about 40 people in the class, so I can get about 20 done a week. So it takes me 2 weeks to do that. If you ever have questions, once again, don't leave me a comment in the assignment. Go ahead straight message me here on Canvas or send me an email. The 2 larger assignments I wanted to go over real fast before this ends. This is an observation and interview assignment. The kind of bigger vibe, I guess, that I'm going for is to take off maybe your teacher or your mentor teacher hat and put on more of an administrative hat. In past classes that you did for child development, you probably came in as a teacher, right? And you were looking at teacher interactions and how are the kids acting, and these are typical milestones. What's the health and safety like? We're a little bit less of that and more like I'm coming in as a fellow director and I want to make sure that everything is smooth. How is the administration? How is the paperwork going? How is the supervision? Are the staff following a routine and schedule? Are they seem to know what's going on? Do they have clear policies? Is all the required paperwork up on the wall? How were you greeted when you first came in? So kind of put on like more of like a manager director hat, and take off more like kind of your previous lens of like a teacher, because that's kind of what this class is about. So you're kind of looking for the administration and management, that you are going to be seeing at a school. So you can go to any site that is local to you. I know that many of us are quite far out. I've had past students in like Warner Springs, Julian, Anza Borrego. So like whatever is local to you, it can be infant, it can be preschool, school age, FCC, like a family childcare, or even a military installation childcare. If you are military and you're on base, you can totally go to one of those as well. Or if you're dependent and you can get on and off base, or if you're active duty. You need to call beforehand. Like any observation, you need to call and say, "Hey, I'm doing an observation for Palomar College. Can I come to your site and do an observation?" And then you're also going to do an interview. So you're going to have to talk to the director, assistant director, eligibility coordinator, anyone who has an administration and management. So you might have to call a few different sites before, like in your neighborhood or wherever you want to. Like you might want to call a Head Start, but they're super swamped. And so you're going to do like a local elementary school's preschool, something like that. The interview can be by Zoom or phone. I even had somebody do it kind of by like Google Drive. They like kind of passed back questions back and forth, because I do know that people in administration and management out in our community are quite busy. So whatever is easiest for them. So if you come and you do a 20-minute observation and then you leave and then later on you call them by phone and you do like a 15-minute interview, totally fine. I want you to work with and be the most flexible with those professionals that are working in one of our programs in the community right now. You need to be prompt, dress business casual, just generally appropriate and professional when you are doing the interview and the observation. And then you're going to observe and take notes of the physical environment, classroom procedures, kind of what happened in those 20 minutes. And then afterwards, you're going to do interview with the director administrator. And once again, that can be at a different time. You can call them or have a Zoom later on if they are too busy to kind of meet with you in that moment. Before the interview, though, you need to come up with 10 to 15 questions. Don't just show up at the interview and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" You need to have sat down, have written out the questions that you want to have. They should be tailored to you and also the director that you're interviewing. So if you're interviewing an in-home childcare and it's a large family childcare and she has 12 kids and there's also someone else working with her, you're not going to ask her questions about like being a program director, right? Like she's not at multiple sites. Maybe she only has infants and toddlers, so you wouldn't ask her questions about like being a preschool director, right? Because like she's only got infants and tots and it's in her home. You might tailor it to how is running an FCC. What are some of the like issues and concerns that you've had in the past? All of those types of things. It should also be tailored to you and what you want to know. Like, so if you are wanting to have a nature-based farm preschool, right? And you find one of those, like ask the questions that you want to know, like how, like one of the ones in my program has goats, and I have goats at my house, and man, my goats are a pain. They're constantly getting out, they're constantly pooping everywhere, and so like there's a lot of cleanup that goes into it. That's what I want to know. Like when I go by that nature-based preschool, it looks so cool, but I'm like, man, are you just cleaning like goat poop up all the time? Like I would want to know about the health and safety of having goats, pigs, and chickens and young children. Kind of how does that all interact with each other? And then it needs to be tailored to you, and like kind of what you want to know. Some sample questions might be like, what does a normal kind of typical day look like for you? What is the hardest part of the job? What's the easiest part of the job? How do you deal with angry parents? All of those types of things. Write them out. But in the moment, if you don't be rigid to those interviews, right? To those questions that you've kind of created, it it can kind of stifle the conversation that you're having. So if he or she says something really interesting and you want to ask a follow-up, go ahead, please do. Like, go down that area and learn more from this person. This is a learning experience and hopefully a way to professionally help you. So don't be like, nope, this wasn't on my list of questions. I can only ask what my questions was. Like, if they say something cool or something you always wanted to know and you need a follow-up, ask that follow-up. That's fantastic. And then the observations do need to be done at a licensed early childhood education or military installation. There are some non-licensed kind of like co-op-y, homeschooly things. If you want to interview there and observe there, just email me and we can like figure it out and make sure that it's like appropriate for this class. But I'm kind of flexible with that. Just let me know. I don't need real names of the child, teacher, staff, or the person you spoke to, like the director. The real name of the program site, like I was at a Mac preschool, then that's all I kind of need to know, just generally, so I know generally what program it was, but I don't need to know specifically who you were kind of talking to. Here's the assignment, though. You're going to describe what happened in the observation period. Once again, having that lens of management and administration. Then you're going to write up about the interview. So the questions and answers will both be turned in. And then you're going to analyze the program and the interview. So if it was great, what did you love? What innovation did you see? How well run was it? If you have a little bit of a little critique, that's fine. A little very constructive, supportive, professional critique. Like, I loved it, but there was one little thing that I would work on. That's fine. I like that. I'm not sending this to anybody. They'll never see it again. And it's nice to, and sometimes people even have, they did it this way. I probably wouldn't do it that way, but that's how they do it and it works for them, right? Like, because I see that all the time when I go out to site visits. That's not necessarily how I would do it, but if it really works for your program, and the kids are healthy and safe and the parents are healthy and safe and everybody is kind of rocking and rolling, then, you do you. And we're all following licensing regulations and Title V or whatever regulations we also need to be following. Then we can have our own kind of individual spin on administration and management. All right, so that is your interview. You have an observation. If you have any questions, please email me or come to office hours, and I would be more than happy to kind of talk about individual cases or help you write it up, anything like that. Here's our personnel handbook. This is just like a staff handbook that you're starting to write. When you onboarded somewhere in your career, you probably got like a training session, and you probably got like a list of documents, and you maybe even got a handbook. A handbook is really nice, especially if it's like online, because then you can give it to a staff member and they can always have it and be like, am I allowed to wear a tube top? And you can go look at the dress code policy and be like, no, I can't wear a tube top. Or, do I have to have closed-toed shoes? That was always my big thing. I always wanted to be in sandals because they get hot so easy. I was always like, why can't I wear flip-flops or sandals? Because, health and safety concerns and things like that as well. If you took 150 with me, this is basically the exact same format as 150, just different content and different assignments. So all you're doing is saving this Google document, and at the end of the semester, you have cut and pasted every assignment that we create together into this document. This is basically exactly the same. It looks very similar. It's a different kind of Google document, but it has the same table of contents on the left-hand side. Download it to your own Google. If you don't understand Google, it's quite simple. You just need to have your own Google Drive. You save this, it will go there, and then you will keep it. And then every time you do an assignment, cut and paste it into this Google document. And then at the very end of class in December, you're going to upload the link to me, give me access in the email. But you're just going to give me the link to it. You don't even need to download it. You don't need to save it as a PDF. You can literally just share the document with me in this Canvas assignment, and then I will grade it. So it's kind of like getting an additional set of points for things that you are already writing. So we're trying to write kind of your staff or personnel handbook throughout the class. And then at the end, you'll have this Google document full of things that you might use if you were to ever have your own program, or ways that you want to create a new staff handbook, something like that. So it's very similar to the last part of class, but really it's very simple. Save this Google document to your own Google Drive. And then every time we are writing a assignment weekly together in class, save it in this Google document and then submit it at the very end. All right, so I've gone over my late policy, I've gone over how to message me, I've gone over my grading policy and kind of my feedback policy, and that you should contact me directly for that. I've showed you the Canvas structure and what the weeks are going to look like. And like generally, things are due on Mondays, and you need to be on Canvas at some point in those 7 days doing some kind of classwork. Otherwise, this class does go fast. Email me early and often for any help or support that you need so that I can be there for you. But otherwise, I think we'll have a great semester, and I'll kind of see you guys more online. All right. Thank you.